saw this video pop up, CNBS, talking to, red flag, an automotive analyst on the road ahead for Tesla in 2026.
Tesla shares trading close to a record high. Yesterday I looked, got to 498 at one point yesterday, but the closing high I think is like 489 and change. We'd almost be there right now for if it's only up 62 cents. Very volatile though, but basically trading.
All right, hold up a sec. I don't think I've ever seen CNBS feature Tesla stock since IPO, but let's just let this sink in, bruh. Tesla stock since IPO, roughly at the end of June 2010, stock's up 43,000%. What the actual fuck? Not a bad return over a decade and a half.
At an all-time high. Dan Levy is Barclays senior auto analyst. Is it cars? Is it taxis? Is it what is it at this point, Dan? Maybe the concern about the expiring subsidies or government tax credits held the stock down. What's causing the new surge?
Maybe thank you, Joe and Andrew. Maybe the better overarching view is it's narrative. That's really what it is that we are in a stock that has been at this point purely driven by narrative fundamentals.
Well, the automotive analyst is revealing himself. Now, this is in essence a derogatory statement suggesting that Tesla shareholders are basically brain dead. This whole narrative-driven stock really means the valuation makes no sense. It's tied to hopes and dreams. Nothing tangible, nothing obvious, nothing inevitable. Those dumb Tesla retail investors who think that Tesla has developed a general solution to autonomy, unique among all the so-called competition and ultimately will dominate, take the lion's share of the profits, are just deluded fanboys. There's no evidence for that occurring. Those deluded Tesla retail investors who don't know how to analyze the stock are just imagining things when they believe that Tesla can effectively, and has by the way, transplant the brain of the vehicle into a robot, scale that, and likely dominate there as well with a massive advantage in mass manufacturing profitable products that contain a lot of the same components. The real-world vision is an important piece of the puzzle. That Tesla can solve autonomy, vision only. Those Tesla fanboys are deluded. They're retarded just because Tesla tells them that vision's going to work and that Tesla's intending on scaling a fleet of robotaxis doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. Therefore, valuation makes no sense. Narrative-driven stock. By the way, again, this guy's a fucking automotive analyst. Senior auto analyst. Why is an automotive analyst covering Tesla stock? Oh, wait, that's right, because Tesla's just a car company. And anything that doesn't relate to just a car company must, of course, be narrative-driven. I have to say, it's the end of 2025. What an indictment on Barclays to have an automotive analyst still covering Tesla. I really feel bad for this guy. He's completely out of his depth.
This point are seemingly an afterthought. The car business is sort of a little bit of yesterday's news. The news going forward really is about the path forward in Robotaxi, Optimus humanoid robots. That's really what's driving the stock and the strength here, and why you have a stock that's trading, well in excess of 200 times next year's earnings.
Does that mean that you think it's overvalued, or does the narrative just reflect what Elon's been able to do in the past? I mean, it's bad to bet against him.
Well, and I think that really is the view for a lot of us here is, and why we stick with equal weight rating, even though it is disconnected. We are fundamentally sort of rooted analysts, but the reality is we are in a market that is placing a heavy premium on AI narratives. Elon has done a very good job reflecting that they are a beneficiary of AI. I think we all know the opportunity of the TAMs that are associated with robotaxi, autonomous driving, humanoid robots. Sure, I think what we would say is be mindful of sort of the challenges in unlocking those TAMs. Robotaxi, there is still a long ways to go to scale these operations, and humanoid robots is still really in improving the concept that they have. But the reality is we're mindful of the market dynamics that are driving the strength in the stock.
Doge who, Dan? So much for the stigma from being friends with Trump or advisors to Trump.
This is funny. Joe just can't help but trolling. Now, I said at the time over and over and over and over again, the perceptions, the narrative versus the reality were worlds apart. The narrative being conjured up at the time in the hate stream media, on the anus of the internet, also known as Reddit, the STD on the wart on the anus of the internet, Blue Sky, and among a lot of left-hearted academics, was that Elon was destroying Tesla's brand, that half the United States of America would never buy a Tesla anymore. There wasn't a single person on the political right who would now support Tesla, even though everyone on the left would now never support Tesla. It didn't seem to make a lot of sense. Tesla was being destroyed, Elon should step down, shut up, whatever. At the time, I pointed out a very narrow perspective was being presented. An extremely vocal minority of people and their opinions, or their alleged opinions, let's not forget the fake paid protesters who were just there for a paycheck. This was being presented to the world as if these folks were the majority of people out there. I said many times, they're an irrelevant vocal minority. They're not going to move the needle. But people with low IQs, and I mean that, like just small brains, are unable to distinguish the narrative they're being presented from the left-leaning media, which is just a tiny sliver, a fraction of a percent of all the people out there, versus the overwhelming majority. They have the inability to distinguish between the narrative being shoved down their throats, the propaganda, and reality. So many dumb fucks bought into this narrative that Elon was destroying Tesla's brand, it was over, blah, 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 blah. Many people panic sold as a result of this, in fact. How awkward. Yet, they were victims of propaganda, manipulated, which is how propaganda works. If you convince enough people that all the other people think one thing, well, obviously it's the end of the world. Plus, I should also think the same thing. This was the purpose and the intent of the anti-Tesla, anti-Elon paid propaganda protests. Again, paid propaganda. They were centralized, organized. They were pre-printing signs for everybody to hold with talking points. All this shit got exposed. I covered it at the time. The entire purpose of this was to fool people with small brains into thinking that everybody thought the same thing and believed the bullshit. It didn't work. Tesla pushed back. Elon didn't cower. The counter-narrative prevailed. Reality prevailed. You know what happened? The Justice Department started going after the few absolutely deranged, mentally ill retards who saw the Elon bad protests, took matters into their own hands, engaged in acts of domestic terrorism leveled at Tesla. They fucked around, they found out, and suddenly everyone went, you know what, it's probably not worth a weekend paycheck to go protest Elon and do something dumb when I might end up in prison. Better not do that. And suddenly, all of a sudden, they evaporated. They tried to intimidate Musk into backing down. It didn't work. And here we are. Turns out, as Joe is alluding to, and as I said many times, at the time, 99.9% of people do not give a flying fuck. They did not give a flying fuck. It doesn't matter. Yet, so many people were fooled into thinking that it did matter, that most people cared, that not a single person on the left would ever buy a Tesla again. It was the end of the world. That Elon was destroying Tesla's stock, destroying Tesla's brand, yet here we fucking are, all-time highs, bitches. How did this happen? Because it didn't fucking matter. It never mattered. No one cares. I commend Joe for bringing this up.
But what about all those bumper stickers that say, I bought my Tesla before Elon lost his mind? Are they going to peel those off? What about that?
Yeah, I think that the narrative here on Elon's sort of engagement with the company, first of all, that was what the AGM was really about, and the comp package was really about, was making sure that Elon Musk is engaged and focused on the future of Tesla. So I think they got that. We are seeing an Elon Musk that is, relatively more engaged now with the future of the business, as opposed to sort of political endeavors, which had weighed down the stock before. And again, I think for this, as far as,
bro, every time I kind of have to say it. I can't take seriously anybody covering Tesla stock who's an analyst who discloses that they don't own Tesla stock. I understand that most of them aren't supposed to own it because of conflict of interest. But if I worked as an analyst and I was covering Tesla stock and I understood what I was looking at and I wasn't allowed to own Tesla stock, I'd quit my fucking job and load up on Tesla stock. Shout out to Andrew James, who did exactly that years ago and made a killing. Consider what it takes to be an analyst, to cover stocks, to be disallowed from owning any of them. Surely at some point during your career, you see some opportunities to go, holy fuck, bro, I've got to buy this thing. I'm not allowed to. Okay, well, fuck it. I'll just quit my job. Been making multiple six figures for a decade. I've got plenty of cash. Loading up, bro. It never happens, except, again, shout out to Andrew James. Maybe one or two other exceptions. It boggles the mind.
The stock is focused. Yes, they've lost market share. You see that in the numbers. The stock is focused on their prospects in autonomous driving and humanoid robots right now.
I mean, there was a time when people thought, even though liberals love, climate hysteria and everything else, there was a thought that they'd never buy another Tesla because of the brand damage from Elon associating with the.
So Joe can't help himself, and again, he's right. The narrative at the time, if you guys forgot, if you've got a short memory or you weren't paying attention, was, bro, Elon's destroying Tesla. The number of morons who thought this was true. They'd see a paid protester have such a small brain that they couldn't see in that same shot where there were 12 of the exact same sign. Why would all the signs from the paid protesters be exactly the same? Oh, wait, because they were centrally printed and handed out when they arrived for their paid protest, you idiot. And go, oh, look, all these people hate Elon. That must represent the entire country right now. Holy fuck, he destroyed Tesla's brand. Oh no, it's the end of Tesla. Joe's right. The hysteria was next level. How easily fooled people were with this propaganda. Investors panicked, the stock collapsed. None of it made any sense. It didn't represent reality. I said it a trillion times over and over at the time, and here we fucking are. I love the fact that Joe's bringing this up again. He knows the narrative was bullshit at the time. And by the way, there was the counterpoint as well. As I pointed out at the time, for every one deranged leftard shrieking Elon bad, there was at least one person on the political right, many examples of them, by the way, covered them individually, people on X, who are, you know what, Elon's got balls, he's standing up, I like what he's doing, I'm going to support his companies, I'm going to buy a Tesla. Oh shit, Teslas are actually sick. Bonus. Much of this occurred. Yet none of that was discussed from the left-leaning media. You see the paid protesters, Elon bad, but you wouldn't see any coverage of, say, like the Fox News presenter who said, holy shit, I went out and bought a Tesla and it's fucking sick, bro. 0 to 60 in 3 milliseconds. Holy shit, bro. These things are sick. None of that.
Bad orange man. That has not come to pass.
Wait. Did he just referenced Orange Man bad, but I think he said bad Orange Man. I got to hear this again.
Thought that they'd never buy another Tesla because of the brand damage from Elon associating with the bad orange man. That has not come to pass.
Yeah, well, and listen, we've seen that already in Europe, right? Like sales are down. So sales for November just came out. They're down 12%. And it continues the theme we've seen of European sales under pressure. Because
of that, or because of the expiring subsidies, or because of brand damage, or what?
Well, Europe has been more a story of brand damage. The U.S., we saw that
I think brain damage would be more accurate. By the way, rest in peace, my European friends. The most propagandized pocket of Earth, other than maybe North Korea. I'm not even kidding, by the way. I don't know what it is in the water over in Europe, but holy fuck, dude. The level of trust people, on average, in Europe have in the mainstream media is unfathomable. Horrifying, in fact.
Subsidies expire already back in September. So now you're seeing some hangover effects, even though there was actually some decent lease pricing that's out there. And China is just a very competitive market. So I think there are a number of factors at play, which is why you're going to see sales this year down double digit. Right? We haven't seen a volume decline of that magnitude for Tesla. I think the key part here is really resetting the bar on volume. And for them in the U.S., it's about now showing that you can buy a vehicle with FSD. Are consumers going to go out and buy new vehicles on the basis of FSD being, the killer app, so to speak, in vehicles?
To answer the question, yeah, it's going to help a lot. It's going to be a major tipping point, though. Once you're legally able to buy a Tesla and have it drive you, suddenly FSD transforms from a nice-to-have feature to a must-have feature. Until that point, you might see incremental increases in people buying Teslas. But once in some areas of the United States and elsewhere, you can buy the Tesla, turn on FSD, go to fucking sleep, it's going to be a massive moment. Because suddenly the utility of the software completely changes from useful and nice to have to transformative and essential. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.